Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. You can't go on, man, forget my peace. You take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. Yeah, I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but man's keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
I watched Roadhouse last night, late into the night. 2-word appraisal. Bad ass.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
With a comma in between.
Oh no!
It was so bad.
I don't trust you with this one.
It was so
Dan.
bad.
I don't trust you with
Mike,
this one.
I promise you.
How is this one bad? The trailer just look amazing.
Mike, I promise you, it's bad and it's ass. Conor McGregor is terrible in it.
Dan, I haven't
He
seen
looks
it yet.
great in
Come
it.
on.
He looks like he's
does-
Conor McGregor.
He does look great, and Valerie accused him of getting ass implants because he's
Wow.
he's nude early.
They don't test for that anymore.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Is it possible that Conor McGregor got ass implants? A spoiler alert, small spoiler alert, Mike, that may ruin it for you. Somebody got attacked in Key West, just in Key West, by a crocodile.
That happens. Saltwater crocodiles
Dan,
in the canals,
that's
very
a
dangerous.
Big problem.
This is not how that would happen. There would this.
Did you ever watch Bloodline? Like that's exactly how that happens.
A crocodile?
Yeah, saltwater crocodiles in the Keys. Wow, tell me you don't go to the Keys often.
Thank you. That's
There
what I was trying to tell you
crocs
yesterday.
Everywhere. It's like one of the deepest fears I have. You can't jump into a canal in the Keys.
He's never been to Hog's Heaven.
Dude,
Mike,
you've never
clearly.
been to Hog's Heaven.
The ocean is not a place that you're getting attacked by crocodiles. A canal is a place you might get attacked by
there's
a crocodile.
He was on a dock, Dan.
There's saltwater crocodiles everywhere in the ocean down here. Everywhere.
There's orcas now in the ocean.
Turkey
You're telling me
Point,
there's not a croc? Come on.
Coconut Grove, the Keys. Those canals in the Keys, they're very close to the open water in the ocean. That's all salt water. That's not necessarily brackish water. The name is saltwater crocodiles.
It doesn't
in the ocean.
All right, I can be wrong because I did not know that.
You're wrong about two things because Roadhouse has a 66 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's badass.
Tony,
one word.
you saw
the original Roadhouse, by the way, had 41% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Also badass.
Tony,
that's badass.
So
yes.
Tony, you're telling us you're the only other one here, I think, who's
I
seen
saw
it.
half of it. So I got to the point where you saw the saltwater croc.
So
I
you're
got
just
to that
on the
point.
bad part, not the ass part.
I'm waiting for more ass to be kicked. Right now, Dalton has kicked some ass, but not as much ass as he needs to.
Has
He's about
Dalton-
to kick way more ass.
Has he ripped out a trachea?
Not yet.
Because that is essential. That is canon.
You
But that
liked
happens
it?
later on.
Tony, you liked it.
So far, Dan, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt early. Okay, later on, we're gonna catch up and fill out the
There's no
badass.
way Mike will like this. The writing is so bad. The writing is so bad.
I guarantee you I will like it. Just from the trailer, the fact that it's in the Keys, the fact that Conor McGregor looks like he knocks it out the park because all he has to do is be Conor McGregor.
He does it starchly, stiffly. It doesn't feel very good. He's a bad actor. He's very bad at acting.
Okay, that works.
And the writing is very bad
The
for
kid and
him.
the dad are also bad actors in the Glass book.
I love going to the Keys. It's shot there, so I just think from being able to look around at the scenery, I'm going to get a kick out of it. Oh, kick. How is his roundhouse kicks? Are they good? Because that's also essential.
I will wait for your appraisal.
Once I finish Madam Web, I'll get around to Roadhouse.
I was surprised before the show. This has never happened before in terms of me having to step in to prevent a fist fight. I had to hold Lucy back when Mike Ryan called it March Midness and said that everything he saw yesterday was overrated.
The ones who get it, get it. Exactly, the ones who don't. And you don't get it. You don't get it.
Excuse me, Lucy, with all due respect. And of everyone here, I'm probably the only blue blood. And I know what March is all about, having made consecutive very deep runs into the tournament. And it's a lot of trudging through mud and sewage to get to, like, moment.
That's what college sports is all about.
It's bad.
Sewage, crap. It is awesome. You clearly didn't watch Nevada-Dayton. That game kicked ass.
Dayton was down 13, okay, late. That's like being down 50.
Lucy, I'm gambling again. I had Nevada. Rest assured, I watched it all. It's just not good. The game isn't great. Would have been a lot better if Miami were in it. Yeah, I can wear that homerism on my sleeve. But it's not good. And I understand getting all super hyped up for it. Yes, it's the best sports day of the year, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't match a regular old NFL Sunday slate. It doesn't match a Saturday afternoon in the Premier League. It doesn't match 10 p.m. puck drops in the NHL going on simultaneously. It doesn't match these things.
It doesn't match Jack Golke in these things.
Golke, okay, we need to talk about Golke. How did you not start the show with Golke? Golke is what March is all about. A guy with that kind of hairline who's going to be a terror in rec league in 2 years, dropping 10 threes against Kentucky. I want to be Golke. I love Golke.
That guy is 40 years old. That
Possibly.
guy has the perfect first name for somebody who makes 10 threes, Jack. That guy is the reason Jay Wright says the following, quote, "The era of taking these young freshmen and trying to play against older players is over." I think Cal did a phenomenal job with these guys all year. You can see they're playing against grown men. The guys on Kentucky will be far better pros than any of these guys on Oakland or any of these guys in the tournament, but they're not as good college basketball players.
And that's why we love it. College
Wright.
basketball is for the everyday folk, okay? We're not making it to the NBA, but we're going to have fun and we're going to screw things up in the process.
We're going to hit 10 threes right in Mike Ryan's face.
Jack Golke actually gave voice to this, that point there exclusively in his post-game press conference.
Obviously, we come in, we're the underdog by all measures, but you just got to, as a player, you can't think that way. You got to go out there and you got to think that you have the same talent level as them. I know they have draft picks, and I know I'm not going to the NBA, but I know on any given night I can compete with those type of guys, and our team can compete with those type of guys. And that's why I was so confident going into it, and that's why I say we're not a Cinderella, because when we play our A game, we can be the best team on the floor.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Have you ever thought of Cinderella as 50 years old?
Looks like Billy Donovan's hair when he wakes up in the morning.
It does. It has an Eddie Munster vibe to it. There's a lot of forehead surface area.
Yeah. That's what Bradley Cooper looked like in Wedding Crashers, by the way. Something's going on there. You may want to look into it.
What was the name of, was it Andrew Gase, the Australian player for Seton Hall a million years ago? The first time I remember watching a college game and saying, wait a minute, that's not fair. That guy's clearly, he's much older than everybody else. And I agree with Mike. This part cannot be disagreed with. It's bad basketball.
It's so
That's
bad.
the point.
Okay. You want to watch good basketball? Go watch the NBA, Dan.
Exactly.
This is not for good basketball.
There's no such thing.
This is for Jack Golke.
There's no such thing as good basketball. In fact, maybe the ladies can come through today, because today is also their day, and I'm excited to watch that tournament. But
According to you, there's no good basketball.
Hey, dog, I watched all the games yesterday.
I need to see your jumper.
Again. What?
Doesn't
sound like
What?
a-
Excuse me. I know ball.
I need to see your jumper.
I know ball.
After Amin's jumper, I need to see your jumper.
My
if you're gonna
jumper's
talk
fine.
ball. I need to see it.
My jumper is fine. I'm also I play within myself, and I'm not going to camp out at the perimeter. That's not my game. All right. I'm a junkyard dog inside. Everyone knows this. Also, I close out pretty well. All right. I'm not going to jack up 6 shots on the outside just because you want to see this. I'm an efficient basketball player. I grew up reading, Heat Index.
Mike Ryan just mentioned closeouts, and I will never look at them the same after what I saw in a terribly bored Clippers game here, where James Harden goes through the paint, passes it in the corner to his teammate Kawhi Leonard, and then closes out on Kawhi Leonard, just pretends to try to block the shot of Kawhi.
What?
Now, keep in mind, they are up 20. It's the only defense James Harden has played in about 5 years, and he played it on his own teammate. And look at the score, incidentally. They get the rebound after this to go up by 24.
Did he get the rebound? Because he put himself in terrific position to grab that board.
I think that he got the ball back and then passed it again. Yeah, he did get the
Heads
rebound.
up play by James Harden.
For those of you who are not watching, just listening, again, James Harden came through the lane, passed it in the corner to his teammate Kawhi Leonard, and then was the closest to close out on Kawhi Leonard and jumped toward him and stuck a hand in his face. And Kawhi missed
Great defense.
Missed the shot. After the game, Ty Lue just shook his head, and James Harden said that, we're just trying to keep it interesting late in the season. They're up by 25 against that terrible Portland team.
Here's why people love March Madness, and they conflate the upsets and they forget about the really bad games going on. What they love about March Madness is that it's happening at 11:30 a.m. Eastern.
Actually, that's a great take. You know what? I got to give it to you there.
That's what sets it apart. And if you're not myopic and you watch European soccer and these international competitions, you realize, or if you watch tennis that's played in different time zones, you realize that this is afforded to you across the entire sporting landscape. And then when you line it up in terms of excellence on the field to play, you start poking holes on March Madness.
This is where I disagree with Mike, because we're having two different discussions, okay? The bad basketball, I think we can all come pretty close to agreeing with. I'm pretty upset with Mike's general spoiled about basketball attitude, where it's gotten so good that he thinks it's all bad. Like the professional skill level has gotten so incredible that shots from the logo are normal, and now Mike is saying that it's all bad. But the place where he's right about some of this is, however, how is it, what is it that are 49ers? People who look for gold through pans.
Miners.
Yeah, miners.
Okay, this is what March Madness is. The pan has just so much dirt, mud, garbage, and worthless in it. But every once in a while,
sift it out.
You shake it loose, and what do you got? You got Jack Golke making 10 threes for Oakland to knock out Kentucky when all you're rooting for is for Kentucky to get knocked out. All I was rooting for yesterday was Kansas and Kentucky to lose. Samford, I had Samford to win. I don't know if I mean, a lot of people say this. Nobody cares who you had, who I had. But to have Samford to win as a 13 and to lose that way when you get the perfect block at the end, and the referees foul it up when the referee needs to not do that. You can't. The referees denied us that moment. So if there's a nugget of gold with Oakland, it gets shit on by that referee who took away from us the ability to have Samford beating Kansas.
The only reason they called a foul was because he fell. Like, that to me is the only reason that they called a foul.
I know that it's like searching for the nugget of gold, but I think the thing that's worth noting is you have this every single year, though. So you always know you're going to get a St. Peter's or an Oakland. So it keeps you coming back, even though, like, yes, you're going to get a bunch of duds. It's that fun Oakland story. It's that fun St. Peter's story that keeps you going. Like, I remember where I was when Lehigh beat Duke. Like, that's the shit that just stays with you forever. And it's awesome. And I don't know why you guys just aren't enjoying the moment.
Put it on the poll. Do you remember where you were when Lehigh beat Duke? And by the way, if you want to experience the midness for yourself, this is being played all over our great nation. Why don't you open up a Game Time account? Man, I hear so many great things about Game Time from our fans out there. Deeply appreciative. I feel like I'm providing a service to our fine people out there. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Dan for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. None of the silly games that are out there with all the other competitors. Right. Game Time for me is elite, upper echelon. Download the app right now. Again, I will double down on my point when it comes to March Madness. What you love the most about it is the time.
Can I buy you a better attitude on Game Time? Can I upgrade that?
Yeah, sure. Maybe it's ingrained in me to go counterculture. I also like March Madness, but in experiencing it yesterday, I realized that the only thing that sets it apart is being able to do this before you even have lunch.
Yeah, it's getting home and putting on the games. You got
it's the amount.
Games going.
It's the amount, Mike. It's not just that you've got something at 11:30. It's that you got before 6 p.m. You got 20 games going on.
Any college football Saturday.
But you said Saturday. It's the weekend. This is the weekday. Yeah. This is when we have nothing. This is when we have like Bengals Colts on a Thursday night.
Again, you have the NBA, you have the NHL, You have simultaneous games going on all the time. And I think a lot of what's happening with March Madness is nostalgia, because it came at a time where you weren't able to watch multiple games at the same time. And you had one network basically cutting to dramatic finish. It was a red zone before the red zone. And while it's awesome and it still remained kind of good, it's something that's more available than ever for any type of sport. So I think a lot of that shine has worn off, and you're just left with the quality on the field to play, and it's not that good.
It's the reason that I like college football so much, where if you have an upset in the NFL, you have an upset in the NFL. And if you have an upset in college football, it's the craziest thing in the world. No one can believe Alabama lost. It's the same thing with March Madness. If the Pistons beat the Celtics, okay, you'll get a 30-second hit on SportsCenter and you're done. When Oakland beats Kentucky, everyone is talking about it. Everyone is involved with this tournament, filling out their bracket. It's a community thing. It's fun. We all care. And maybe you should look at the positive side of things.
I like it. I'm not saying I don't like it.
Sounds like you don't like it.
Mike,
No,
Armando
'cause-
Bacot's going to be at UNC for his 10th year.
Yeah.
You're not excited about
No,
that?
he was at UNC before Patrick Mahomes won a single Super Bowl. That is a real
How can you
stat.
not love that? You know what? I have a top 5 for things about March.
Yes.
All right, go for it.
Number 5, Tom Izzo.
Hang on, give me a second. I'm new at this.
People bet
changed all
against,
this?
People bet against Tom Izzo yesterday. How dare
Tom
you?
Izzo in March, are you kidding me?
How dare you?
He's so dialed in. You think about Coach Cal, great recruiter, good coach. Then he gets to March, crap, right? Tom Izzo, the complete opposite. During the season, but then when it gets to March, he's dialed in.
I really do feel the way Mike is looking at this, though, is like the person who buys 1,000 lottery tickets, very excited, and then none of them come in. But if one of them comes in, if there's an Oakland in there, all of a sudden you love March Madness.
That's how the parlay business keeps going, because it's about the one that you win. Guys, I like March Madness. After this, I'm going to a sports bar with my friends to watch March Madness. What I'm saying is, it's not the greatest thing in sports that people make it out to be. In fact, when you compare it to the sports landscape, it's kind of mid.
Number 4, the aforementioned Armando Bacot playing his 10th season at UNC.
The
Boo Buoy
Players
on the list,
was
too.
going on at a similar time last week with 2 amazing holes, a hotly contested competition.
The Players,
The
please.
Players
The Players
was
I want
better.
to see is Armando Bacot for his 10th season. That's what I want to see. Number 3, Nevada blowing a 17-point lead in the second half.
That one hurt. That one hurt.
You can't get that outside of March. You can, but
one-
you can't.
That one hurt. That one hurt a lot. I had a decent amount of quid on Nevada. Dayton ended that game on 24-4 run.
Oh, you can't go against the Flyers. Dayton in March? Are you kidding me? That's a lock.
Do they still host the first 4? Is that still the tradition? I don't
Possibly.
get that one.
Number 2, the AD taking credit for Long Beach State getting into the tournament.
Frick.
Please put his picture on the screen here. I want to read this quote because Dan Monson was fired, and the press conferences afterward in which all of this stuff was discussed, because it was funny to listen. If you don't know the story, Dan Monson of Long Beach State was fired on Monday, and then he, they make the tournament. They win their tournament, and the athletic director, whose name is Bobby Smitherin and looks exactly like you would think somebody who has no respect for 17 years of building Long Beach State into what Monson built it into. He comes in after 3 or 4 months and he fires him. And then the quote is, "My belief," and I haven't heard him say this, I'm just reading the quote, so I don't know if there's a smile on his face. I don't know if there's tongue-in-cheek involved here. I don't know if tongue-in-cheek is even allowed anymore today, the way the internet works.
Not the way that the internet works.
You
Because
gotta choose one.
Because I actually saw the video in question, and it looks like he's trying to make the most of it because he's got egg on his face. This is not a great look for him, despite making it to the tournament, which is an achievement for an AD. But yeah, he made what most people would call is a mistake. So he's trying to make the most of it and have fun of an awkward situation. But the quote is pretty damning when you see it absent that.
Roy, can you do me the favor, please, and find for me the origins on tongue-in-cheek, how it is that works, and also egg on his face. I'd like some of the origins of that as well, because I don't know why someone has egg on their face. But the quote from Bobby Smitherin is, my belief and hope is that by doing what I did and the timing of it, they would play inspired, and that's what they did. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but it worked.
That's March.
Now imagine
That's Stugotz. That's not March.
Patino too.
Imagine that quote with a shit-eating grin attached to it, and it changes it a little bit.
Okay, the shit-eating grin. Let's talk about this for a second.
That's important.
It's another one that we have to look up,
If you
Roy.
were eating shit, do you think you'd be grinning?
It's a little one.
But it's not a grin of happiness. Like a shit-eating grin is
This one
happy.
does not make sense.
This one does not make
This
sense.
one-
If
this one
I'm
doesn't-
eating, the only time that shit-eating grin I've seen is my dog likes to eat the cat turds. and
Does it make him happy?
Yeah, it does. That's the only time I've seen a shit-eating grin. And it disgusts me. I've lost respect for my dog when he comes out of there with kitty litter on his face. And I'm like, how'd you get in there again? We've booby-trapped the entire house to prevent the way that you disgust me when you do this.
Shit-eating grin is possibly a contraction of grinning like a possum eating shit, later detached from meaning persisting due to his vividness. So there you go.
Thank you, Roy.
I don't understand what the last
So
part of
possums
that
eat shit and
sentence
then they
was.
smile?
Well, there are a lot of nutrients. Possums got to get it where they can get it. And if animals
Are there nutrients in shit? Because I
Yes.
thought your body takes all the nutrients from the shit, and then all that's left
excrement, yeah.
is the shit.
I think that if a possum's eating it, my guess is the possum is finding something in the way of nutrients from other animals having undigested things in their shit that possums can eat.
I think it's like how manure is like used in soil because I think there are nutrients in it. That would make sense in my brain, right?
The possum is also, I don't know how your brain works. The possum is also not a discerning beast of any kind. It is a pea-brained animal, and whatever it is that it eats, I wouldn't trust it to do what it's supposed to be doing.
Human feces is rich in potassium.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Did you know that human shit was rich in potassium? Also put it on the poll. Did you know that in the Atlantic Ocean, a crocodile could eat you in the Keys?
Number 1, Oakland's Jack Golke. By the way, I was just told something, and I have breaking news for everybody. Oakland is in Michigan.
That was shocking.
What?
You didn't know that?
Wow, you didn't know
I-
there are multiple Oaklands in this country?
First time that Oakland's made a run for you guys? Yeah, no. We've learned that.
I
We've learned that.
not only did I learn that, I learned that the same kind of way that you learned it, Tony. But when Mike was over by the breakfast in the eating area, I wandered past him and mumbled a secret shame. I said to him, I don't want to admit publicly or privately how much I've bet Oakland the last, 7 years, not just in the tournament, just anytime I'm scrolling through bets and I'm bored and I see Oakland is playing, even if I don't know anything about them other than the fact that they're in Michigan, because I learned that last time, and I discover Golke when I turn on my television, because I can't get these games. I'm not watching these games when I'm betting them, but if I see Oakland on the scroll, I'm like, I trust them to surprise some people. And they're going to surprise them as soon as you don't realize that they're in Michigan. Like that I discovered all of that the same way you learned of it
Also,
yesterday.
Jacksonville State, not in Jacksonville.
What?
Well, Florida, anyways.
Think about this. I was looking at this as Oakland, California, and I was like, Jack Golke in Oakland. I like it. Dog. Making it happen.
Jack Golke doesn't look like any Oakland I've ever seen in my
On the
life.
tougher side of the bridge.
As you can see how I was amused by it.
Egg on your face goes back to the late 1800s, early 1900s, when audience would throw rotten eggs and vegetables at bad actors on stage, or actors would smash eggs on their faces to get laughs from the audience.
I thought it was tomatoes that got thrown at people during that time to
Rotten eggs and vegetables, yes, so that would be included.
And tongue-in-cheek is the last of these because I don't did you guys think that quote, when I'm reading that quote, it doesn't sound tongue-in-cheek. It sounds like the AD is taking credit for them making an inspired run because he fired the coach, who, incidentally, is working for not money.
Honestly, James Harden, back again. He's up 21, so he's just joshing out there. It's against the Blazers. No respect for the other team. How are the Blazers feeling about things right now?
No respect for anything. Have any of you ever seen somebody close out a three on a teammate in an NBA basketball?
Last week we saw Joe Mazzulla close out after the buzzer, which was kind of weird and not talked about. That dude is odd.
Yes, he's unusual.
He is an odd person.
Yes, I cannot wait to see how that disintegrates in his lap because he is unusual. Tongue-in-cheek, Roy. Give me tongue-in-cheek, please.
The most believable explanation for its origin is that in the 1700s, people would show contempt or skepticism by using the tongue to poke out a budge in their cheek. By 1842, tongue-in-cheek had acquired its modern meaning take this with a grain of salt. It's intended to be humorously ironic.
Humorously?
Humorously.
Humorously. I want to go back to something that broke at the end of the show yesterday, and I and this show have been guilty over the years of not being great about covering women's basketball. And through that time, Katie Meyer at the University of Miami built something that not only represents, an enormous number of wins, but represents a kind of pioneering that none of us can possibly understand how hard it was to build everything she has built. I gave you the stat a few days ago that in college football, only 1 in 5 coaches are still in the place that they were in 2019. Like, the turnover now is crazy in those jobs. To have somebody for 20 years leave on her terms, she's not happy with what the committee did and what happened with the punctuation at the end. I don't know. Mike's closer to the program. He'll tell us perhaps how much that did or didn't have to do with the timing on what happened yesterday, because she leaves pissed off. She leaves because she feels like the thing that she built at the end wasn't properly respected and was denied a tournament berth. But I don't want to ignore the fact that this woman working in the shadows has built something substantive out of nothing, because this did not have any kind of following when she got here, and it got a following only because she built it, stayed with it, cares in a really, I'm not going to say an unusual way, but cares the way that you have to in order to have that kind of success for that long with all of the changes that have come. But that is a legitimate pioneer that retired yesterday in Miami, a name that's known nationally as a pioneer. And the only reason this doesn't stain the University of Miami is because she's just leaving and not yet taking another job, and I assume not going to take another job. But if she were to have taken another job, it would be an indictment on the University of Miami, and I just don't know enough of the details about why she left.
She bleeds orange and green. She's still going to be around the program. There's a lot that has gone on in Katie's personal life. She's newly married, a wonderful wife in Hunter. This came as a shock. She's still relatively young, but she has been doing this for a while. I can attest. 19 years doing one thing is a very long time to be doing it. She's done it at a level that we've never seen before. You can make an argument that she's on the Mount Rushmore of Miami Athletic head coaches, and we've had a lot of great head coaches. You mentioned that she has a special relationship with her players, and that's unique. And a lot of coaches do have these really special bonds with their players. I've never seen anything quite like
she cares unusually deeply and has since there was no one at the game.
Yeah, she wears her emotion on her sleeve. She connects the players on much deeper levels, and Miami is a historical outlier. For them to really achieve anything in athletics as a private institution with a really low student body is an achievement, and she established high watermark after high watermark after high watermark, developed this program after a run in the Elite Eight to something that is actually getting resources now. This yesterday came as a surprise and a shock, and it was a little bit heartbreaking. And once you pick up the pieces, you try to wonder where you're going where you're going to from here. I'm so happy that Katie's going to at least have a hand in it, and I hope she basically has the ability to name her successor. I think she's earned that right here, and it's my hope that it's Fitzroy Anthony, who's the lead assistant, who was lead recruiter on what is presently Miami's greatest recruiting class in the history of that program here at Miami. I think he'd be a tremendous hire, and I'm normally against promoting from within, and the AD should do a national search, but I think the answer is here. And if Katie wants that to be the answer, then I think we should all respect it. Great coach. If she were available in an open market, top jobs would be interested in her. She is a pillar. and it's really, really heartbreaking to see her go. She knows what's best for this program, though, so you got to have to trust her judgment. But an icon just hung him up. And what's really a bummer about it is I feel like us as a show, and we kind of are the talisman of the local market when it comes to speaking about things. We kind of just got around to recognizing this career. And that's a shame because we should have honestly been touting her for a very long time.
Speaking of the local market and the local media, I want to talk a little bit about what's grown into what feels like Mike Ryan's genuine disappointment with the Miami Heat's media, with the team. Like you've been. A lot of people are annoyed in general with our show for how we're covering the Heat, and it's expansive how they get annoyed, that we talk about them too much, period, or that the way we talk about them is a little negative, emotional, and spoiled. The Heat media, though, much of it has been in those jobs for a long time. And there is a symbiotic relationship between the Heat and the media that is a little comfortable, and there's not a lot of critique in the Heat media. There's a lot more critique in Heat Twitter and in social media. There's a big, giant gulf between the amount of criticism you get from the objective reporters who are paid to cover the team accurately and then only become very loud critics when it becomes clear to everyone that the Heat is done with Kyle Lowry, and then the Heat media turns on Kyle Lowry. But it is interesting to watch sometimes how the Heat media doesn't feel very much all the time like an independent arm that is loudly critical of the team. I will say, though, that the team often doesn't deserve a lot of criticism, so that's also part of what dilutes the coverage.
So last time I decided to sideswipe the Miami Heat and criticize them for a year and a season and an approach that I think is worthy of criticism. Terry Rozier, God bless him, hit a game winner against a Donovan Mitchell-less Cleveland Cavs, and Miami got a win, a huge win for them.
Wait a minute, that whole sentence. Donovan Mitchell, God bless him.
Donovan Mitchell-less Cleveland Cavs.
I know, but Terry Rozier, God bless him, and then Donovan, that whole sentence.
Yeah, well, I don't want to necessarily take out the conventional media because I think the lines are blurred, and there's a lot of non-traditional media that has found its way into what we can now categorize as Heat media and Heat Twitter adjacent. It's funny that as Twitter, as a platform, later became X, has gotten more toxic, Heat fans have gone the other way. I miss the days of 2010 where Heat Twitter was a very toxic place, very knee-jerk, very hyperbolic. Oh, I loved it. You guys have changed. And the people that are covering this, the most prominent accounts that are covering the Miami Heat basketball organization, aren't traditional media entities. And let me tell you something. I have found, especially since I seem to be the only person now in the world that feels like they can criticize the Miami Heat, which is a huge sea change. Look, about 25% of Heat media is actively trying to get hired by the Miami Heat. So you got to take that with a grain of salt. They are incapable of true criticism. They only show spine when it's evident to everyone that Kyle Lowry is out the door. Heaven forbid you say something about Kyle Lowry that might ruffle some feathers when he is here.
That's not spine, though. That's not spine.
Heat Twitter and Heat media adjacent accounts that have rightfully found their way into the conversation and do a great job of covering this team to a degree, generally spineless and some real chicken shit behavior from them. Wow. So let me tell you something. It is absolutely normal to criticize a team when they are in a run of poor form. You can also have long view conversations, but to just totally ignore certain facts and to be afraid of criticism. Guys, we were born in fire. We invented this toxic platform they call Twitter, and you've all just gone away like crabs scurrying, and now you're just all company men. Find your balls.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Worst thing to hear about yourself, spineless or chicken shit behavior? Because You escalated spineless by going to chicken shit behavior, and I think it should go from chicken shit behavior to spineless. I also think you made up that stat about 25%.
No, 25% of them are trying to get hired by the
All
Miami
right, so
Heat.
you made one of 4
Yes.
Heat media members,
Which is fine. God bless you.
again with another.
God bless you.
That's,
I,
you know what?
I
God
hope
bless
you get hired.
God bless
but
you.
you're afraid to criticize them because you're actively trying to get hired by them.
That should bless you.
And you talk yourselves into like the craziest stuff. I mean, the craziest stuff. I see tweets like, this is why the Miami Heat brought in Terry Rozier. You've been silent for 3 weeks. You've been silent. No, they brought him in for 8 of 36 from the field, too. Do that.
Amen.
Show me that highlight package. Okay? Enough with this.
I've got the God bless list here. We're doing Terry Rozier and then Heat Media, but not all of them, just a quarter of them.
And people that like March Madness, I think God bless them.
Okay,
And I think
March.
if I haven't said God bless Katie Meyer, add her to the list. God bless her.
Well, but
Angel.
And Alexander Barkov, God bless you.
This list is
Get back in the
weird
lineup,
because
please.
you're putting
Get
Katie
well.
Meyer and Terry Rozier on the same God bless
There's
list.
different.
No, there's
God
an
bless you could be
insincere-
sarcastic and also
No, but
sincere.
they can't coexist. You've been using it just
God
sarcastically.
bless Jack Golke.
Hallelujah.
And no God bless yous to any of the opposing goaltenders that are facing the Florida Panthers lately.
Oh,
well-
that all turn into Dominic Hasek.
Roy, this is the worst stretch of the season for
It's
the Florida
bad.
Panthers.
It
What
was-
is happening here? You guys have lamented 10 days ago. They're getting hot at the wrong time.
Well, Chris Cody should be really happy. Everybody breathe. They've lost 3 straight after going on the best stretch in franchise history. They've had some injuries. And on top of that, the teams that they've lost to, Carolina, Tampa Bay, and last night with Nashville, these are possibly the 3 hottest teams in the league right now.
I've got bad news.
What is it?
The Florida Panthers were plus 650, and I put a little quid on them to win the Stanley Cup.
Oh, no.
And then I think that's when the 3-game skid started.
no.
God
Yeah.
damn it, Tony.
They've gone down. In fact, now they are co-favorites inside their own conference
Gotcha and bless
to
you.
win the Eastern Conference.
He damned you.
I'm
with
putting
God.
my name on it. I'm putting my name on
He
the
didn't
list.
bless you with God. He damned you with God. Roy, your wife
Impossible, Dan. I
is,
found him in the
Yes,
woods.
yes, I
Your
know.
wife is a holy woman. She cannot be happy with
She's
the
not.
amount-
She's not.
This
She's
is
not
why
happy.
he's fasting.
I'm not
atone-
fasting anymore. It ended on Tuesday.
So you atoned for all the goddammits, and now you got new ones to atone for.
I'm back, baby.
I'm not too worried about the Panthers, though. Everybody breathe a sigh of relief. Barkov should be coming back into the lineup on Saturday against, man, this league is incredible. If you look at that Saturday slate, if you see the games and the teams that are clashing on Saturday, it's insane. You have a national television game with a team now that has proven they can draw ratings in the Florida Panthers. You have Panthers at Rangers, two teams that are neck and neck atop the Eastern Conference, 8 p.m. primetime. Hopefully Barkov is back for that. I like that they're taking a cautious approach with Ekblad. We're starting to feel his absence a little bit. It's a murderer's row. After that, they have Philadelphia, which is a slightly easier opponent, you would say, if you're just looking at points. Philadelphia's had Florida's number, and they're getting him on the back end of a back-to-back. John Tortorella wants to drag everyone into hell that he plays with and plays against. So it's a really difficult sport right now. The teams are so good. Nathan McKinnon plays hockey tonight, folks. That's appointment television. But I would be cautiously optimistic that this is going to happen. Whenever you rip off a run like that, this team has shown you whenever they get hot, they settle down a little bit, and they build themselves back up. So I actually think that they're going to be fine.
I'm not worried about the Panthers, but last night, I know they came in hurt. They had 5 days off. They had a little bit of rink rust on them, but that was embarrassing, man. They were entirely too slow against this Predators team. They got outclassed.
They got out-Panthered by Andrew Brunette's Nashville Predators. That one was a tough pill to swallow.
Lucy is not happy with you guys talking hockey when she wants to talk college basketball.
You're not helping.
It's March.
I mean, she just look. That's a good comeback from her. It's March. There's going to be time to talk.
I feel like we've talked about college basketball today.
Yeah.
Again,
You've hated on college basketball today.
Well,
you haven't given us our day.
We are a sports show. I know. We had a little tete-a-tete and a little back and forth. And the topic du jour, March Madness. I gave you a little different opinion. You spoke for the people. You remain popular. I talk too much. I'm the villain. We're all happy. That's what keeps this whole machine going.
Exactly.
Disagree. I really want to talk about Coach Cal after the Kentucky loss yesterday because I think it became very clear to me that NIL was sort of going to be the death of Coach Cal because I don't want to say anything or accuse him of anything, but PayPal Cal had an advantage before NIL that now allegedly he no longer has because it's open to everybody, and I think you're starting to see it. Kentucky doesn't recruit as well as they once did. Even when they do, they're losing in the first round of the tournament. They lost to Oakland this year. They lost to St. Peter's 2 years ago. Those are double-digit seeds, and now Kentucky basketball is at this really crazy point where if you want to remain a relevant program, you have to get rid of Coach Cal. His buyout is over $33 million.
Get rid of him.
I think they can't get rid of him, but this is Coach Cal is now the latest because his comments, it kind of feels like he's been laying the foundation for his exit for quite some time, seeing the writing on the walls. There is no bigger red flag for me than if you decide to leave college athletics after you were running shit for 20 years. Because it leads me to believe you were doing something that wasn't on the up and up. And I know I'm not breaking any news here
Saban's
with
not
Coach
getting
Cal.
any of that.
But
Saban's not getting any of that.
Saban, that's what pisses me off. Because I don't know if you saw him speak to representatives. Yeah. And I want to be very careful because I respect the man immensely.
We played it with him sitting next to Ted Cruz. We played that sound, and it bothered everybody.
Man of high character, despite lying to Dolphins fans. He has since atoned for that. One of the greatest leaders in the history of sports. Tell me if I've said enough to protect me from what he behaved like a punk ass when he was on the Hill. Wow. He behaved like a punk ass, sore loser. Displayed to be, he is not a punk ass. He is a titan. He is the greatest to ever do it in a sport where it's really hard to be that great. But also, he had some advantages that other people started getting, and they were above board, and then he left. He dipped. I'm not going to say he tucked his tail in because he almost beat Michigan, the national champion. But the game changed. The game changed, and he left. Gino Auriemma, writings on the wall there. Coach Cal, writings on the wall there. Unprecedented runs these coaches have had, and when the talent gets dispersed, you see that they don't want any part in the game anymore. It's, once again, a little chicken shit behavior.
Okay, punk ass, I don't know what the hierarchy is on this. Roy, can you look up for me, please, why there's writing on the wall? I'm not familiar.
This might be biblical in origin.
I don't know what it is in origin.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego?
I don't. It might have been.
Do
I
you
think
know
King
my
Nebuchadnezzar's
name?
in there somewhere.
Iowa, are you going to Iowa this weekend?
Well, I go by Lucy. That's what my birth certificate says. And yes, I'm so excited. We're going to Iowa for the first round of the tournament. So if you thought I talked about Caitlin Clark a lot before, just you wait. We're flying out tonight. We're going to go to their first round on, I guess, tomorrow. And then Monday, they'll play the winner of West Virginia Princeton. And it'll be a little celebrities watch. Pat McAfee's going to be there. He's doing a show there. Why didn't we do a show there?
Well, you're going as a representative.
Yeah, but all
it's
of
hard.
us would have been
I had a
fun.
conversation with Skipper the other day about what things cost to move us, and he said, and he called us your traveling circus, and it's a lot of people. So is Pat McAfee, but that's the worldwide leader, and we're a startup company. And so we're sending just Lucy and an assortment of resources as opposed to all of us going to do a tournament game there.
Me and Rose.
In the book of Daniel, chapter 5, verses 5 through 31, you can
Great
find
book,
that.
by the way.
Great book. In which the prophet interprets some mysterious writing that a disembodied hand has inscribed on the palace wall, telling King Belshazzar that he will be overthrown.
And this is the saga that culminates with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
I don't think so.
I think it's Shadrach,
I'm not
Meshach,
sure.
and Abednego adjacent.
But they
mean-
were in the fire, correct?
Yeah, off the air, I called that was the book of Daniel.
Yes.
Like, I went to Christian school, Cave 5 through 12.
You did a little hip hop there, and I wanted to ask the group here: did anyone recoil when Kendrick said there is no big three? There's just,
just
me.
Big Me.
He knocked out
Kendrick
J.
is
Cole.
so back, Dan. Kendrick is so back with one verse. We are back.
There's no big three. It's just me.
It's just Big Me.
I'm going to put it on Peter Rosenberg, who called him the greatest MC ever, and that was like 2 albums ago. Kendrick, for me, is him. But J. Cole's also in that.
But he's never done that to Drake and J. Cole before, right?
There was shots fired across the bow, though, because he also had another line in that verse talking about how Prince outlived Michael Jackson. Drake has famously compared himself to Michael Jackson. It's like there's a lot of things going on there.
But they do these songs together. They occasionally collaborate, and they say these things. It's not like they're getting one over. It's not like Cannabis and LL Cool J for hip hop fans out there.
So they're just saying things.
Yeah, and J. Cole, I don't know if you saw a recent interview that he did. Well, it wasn't actually that recent, but J. Cole actually had a hand in the discovery of Kendrick Lamar. So there's a lot of mutual respect there, but I do think Kendrick's the best. And if you can't listen to a dude in an NHL All-Star Sergei Bobrovsky jersey about hip-hop, who can you trust?
I wanted to ask you guys if you wanted to take a stab at it. I don't know if you guys drive in the same way I do and see the same billboards I do, but right across from the arena, advertising to people who park before going to a Heat game. There is a giant billboard for a person selling a skill set that is asking you to fear the beard, and the billboard just reads, "Winning is my sport." And I want to ask you guys what you think that is a commercial advertisement for, because when I see it, I don't think of winning is my sport or fear the beard with the profession insurance attorney.
I was going to say, I can recuse myself because I've seen these commercials. And on the Metro Rail, he actually has big pictures of himself and his little cartoon characters like, my sport is winning. And he's there like very serious.
It's a beard. Yes.
I love that.
It is. My sport is winning. It's a very aggressive marketing campaign. And he's really, I think we can all side with him if it's against the insurance company. Like that, you can go aggressive as an
That's not where the money is, though, Dano.
You can go aggressive with your marketing and advertising if you're someone who wants to tell others, I'll help you go after the insurance company. I'm an insurance attorney, and winning is my sport.
But his law firm is called Your Insurance Attorney or something like that. Like not like names and then like the name of the.
I don't know what it. I just saw insurance attorney. I didn't even see a name on the billboard. I just saw a beard. I saw that winning is his sport, and then I saw an occupation that said insurance attorney. I did not see a name for what it is that was being advertised there.
I don't know if I would trust him as a lawyer.
Because of that advertising?
Just because, I mean, you're an insurance attorney. Like, that's not
lawyer
good for a law firm.
But he said
he's a lawyer that's taking out advertising. I think it's a bit of a red flag right there.
Or that he's just a lawyer.
Speaking of attorneys should have looked over Caden Proctor's contract, no doubt. we've talked about Iowa athletics a little bit on this show. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to talk about what Caden Proctor did. For those that don't know, Caden Proctor was from Iowa, had initially committed to Iowa, ended up going to Alabama, then went in the transfer portal and went back to Iowa. It was a huge get for Iowa, but as he went back to Iowa, he kind of let the cat out of the bag and revealed that Iowa reached out to him while he was enrolled at Alabama. Iowa got in trouble for it, and then it was announced a couple days ago that Proctor has re-entered the transfer portal and is now headed back to Alabama, leaving everybody to wonder, wait a second, did this guy just steal money from Iowa? What's the latest on this, Lucy?
His stat line for Iowa, 0 minutes played, 0 snaps played, 1 NCAA investigation, and unknown amount of money taken from Iowa's collective. So basically, Caden Proctor, once Nick Saban left, decided to come back to Iowa. He was committed to Iowa up until National Signing Day and then was like, I got you. Just kidding. I'm going to Alabama. And we were like, you know what? Best of luck, my guy. Live your life. He then leaves.
God bless you.
God bless him.
Okay, let me write that down.
Comes back to Iowa and randomly, like it was kind of out of the blue, it's announced that he's transferring back to Alabama. He came to Iowa, and the collective for Iowa came out and said he did take money from us, not from anything that was fan donation, but just like business deals or advertising. I don't know how much of that is accurate because they do need to save face, because you don't want to say, hey, we gave this guy a shit ton of money, he came, took it, and left. But because there is no real like system where, he's held accountable for that. And I'm all for players getting paid. I'm all for NIL. There's a potential that he came, took a crap ton of money from Iowa, watched Caitlin Clark play basketball, and said, you know what? I'm good. I'm going back to Alabama. It's one of the weirder NIL stories we've seen, and I think there's going to be a ripple effect because people are going to want more regulation now. Well, they always did.
Well, there should be a collectively bargained standard because different states have different rules, and depending on the state, he could have gotten paid in full. Hell, there in certain states you can just get paid, and I know this for a fact. Certain schools or certain collectives pay for just commitments, just a graphic that people can break at any time. So there's going to be way more Caden Proctors and Rashadas and Cormani McLeans before this actually gets any kind of regulation.
Incredible logo on the beard, by the way.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that is a great logo.